Okay, I'm back with a review of the most recent episode of this show, and let me tell you, I have got thoughts. Many thoughts. Okay, so I talked about this show, the last YouTube video I made. It's the one where the two girls are friends, and then there's a guy, and then there's like this love triangle, kind of, but not really, and then at the end of the episode, I think it was episode 6, we do a time jump. So what had happened at the end of episode 6 was that the one friend, Jeong-Hye, had left. She ran away. And then because of potentially getting in trouble with the law, and then Yeongrae and Jae-pil ended up bonding and coming close and becoming friends. So we do a time jump. We have not met Jeong-Hye yet. We don't know where the heck she is. She's been gone forever. So now Yeongrae and Jae-pil have been friends for a long time. And it's obvious that, okay, this is what's confusing. Jae-pil, up until this point in the show, had shown no romantic feelings towards her at all. When I say zero, I mean zero. There had been nothing. He had been just nice to her, but there had never been anything. And in fact, it even seemed like she had kind of like given up on her feelings, or at the very least been like, I'm not going to be with him. And then, because like in the past, when she was like, still like really liked him and stuff, and she was like, oh, I'm not going to be with him, whatever. I've given up, I've given up on my first love, whatever, right? And then Jeong-Hye and Jae-pil technically dated. I don't know. I said this in my last video. I still didn't really see that. Like, I was like, I didn't think they were dating. I didn't think there was a confirmed dating portion. I thought they were just kind of hanging out. It was weird. Whatever, but apparently they were, because then they broke up, and then it was a whole thing, and then she ended up leaving and has been gone for 7 years. Okay, we have not seen her. We don't know where she is. But yeah, Jae-pil and Yeong-Rye are still friends. However, Jae-pil, even at this point in the show, after freaking 7 years, has never been romantically inclined towards her. It's obvious that Yeong-Rye still likes him. It's obvious that there's this sort of, at the very least, somewhat lingering feelings towards him. But here's, I was going on this whole like tirade with myself watching this show because it was stressing me out. But it was like, here's what I don't like about this show. Or I should say, what I don't like about the possibility of Jae-pil and Yeong-Rye ended up together. Here's why I don't like it. From the beginning, Jae-pil has never had romantic feelings towards Yeong-Rye. He hasn't. And you can be in denial, and you can be like, yeah, he has. No, he hasn't. He has not been romantically inclined towards her at all. And even in their moments where you could consider a romantic moment, I don't really feel like it's romantic on his end. It's just her end being still flustered and being still like, because she still has feelings for him, but she's obviously put them in the back, she's put them on the shelf, because she's like, nothing's really going to happen. I'm just going to kind of, whatever, we're friends, and this is a weird limbo. And there's multiple times in the show that other people talk about their relationship, and they say, you guys aren't dating, but you're also not just friends. Like, there's something, but nothing's happened. Nothing. Keep in mind, 7 years. So I'm like, do not give me the crap that he suddenly sees her differently after 7 years and is suddenly like, maybe you are a viable option. Because here's the thing. We know for a fact that the second Jeong-Hye pops back into this story, any emotion, any feeling, anything he has felt for Yeong-Rye, out the door. It's going to be gone. Because at the end of the day, Jeong-Hye was the one that he wanted to begin with, and that was who he liked. And she liked him. And that was where that relationship was, right? And it feels, for Yeong-Rye, it feels like she's such a second choice, and I need her to not end up with Jae-pil because of that. I will not root for a character who has been faithfully liked this person, has even put their feelings to the side so their friend can be with that person, has just pushed aside and been like, I step aside, I'm not gonna have anything to do with this, I'll move on. And then that friend disappears, and then she finally maybe gets her chance with that guy, but then the second that friend comes back in, he's not gonna care all about Yeong-Rye. Any romantic feelings, anything, the crumbs of what he's felt for Yeong-Rye are going to just completely dissipate as second he sees Jeong-Hye, because he likes Jeong-Hye, and that's who he's liked from the beginning, okay? And for Yeong-Rye, I'm like, I don't want her to end up as second choice. I don't want her to end up with this freaky guy. Also, don't even get me started about him being kind of like weirdly like possessive and jealous when other men were asking about her. I was like, oh, no. You do not have any right to be jealous. You are a freaking coward who couldn't, if you actually had feelings for her, you would have told her. You wouldn't have waited 7 years. And there was even a conversation when he had asked her to this, like, because he's like a doctor, he's like an intern, like a resident, I guess, basically, and there was some like medical student night thing they had, so he invited her as his date because he was like, oh, if I don't invite a date, I'll get fined. And her friends were like, oh my gosh, he's just saying that so he can like, you can like go on a date with him or whatever. So then Yeongrae is like, oh my gosh, what if like something's gonna finally happen, like maybe I should finally confess, like maybe he likes me, maybe he cares about me, right? Still also like, girl, you are so much better than him. You deserve so much better. Like, I can't even... I've said this before, but it'd be like when the guy does not care as much and the girl cares way more, and it's taken the guy way longer to like the girl, it does not feel satisfying. It feels very like, as like a woman watching another... I know it's fictional. I know it's fake. But it's like watching a woman care so much more and the guy's just like there and he does not really care at all. It is so frustrating, and I'm like, I do not want her to end up with him for the sole fact that this man has not freaking stepped up and been like, oh wait, maybe I do like you, and did something about it. And even when we think maybe he's going to do something about it, nothing happens. Also, this is also an interesting plot point that I hope means something. Every time this girl has tried to confess, it has not worked out. Every single time she has tried to, she was going to, she thought about it, she wanted to, nothing happened. She's never told him she liked him. And I'm like, hey girl, maybe there's a reason. Maybe stuff keeps coming, like getting in the way of you confessing because you're not supposed to be with him. Anyways, all that to say, I just, on good conscience, good conscience. Anyways, I cannot like root for them. And there was a couple scenes where I won't lie. I'm not gonna say I didn't kind of ship them for a second. I was like, they're cute. Yes, their interactions are sweet. Here's the thing. I've said this so many times. It's been 7 years and he could not bother to get it through his thick skull that maybe she's an option and maybe she's great. And it's like, I don't want to watch a plot where the girl is so much better than the guy, where she is like significantly funnier, better, more interesting, sweeter, better, just like better in general as a character. And then the guy's just over here and it's like, I don't want her with this mediocre man, because now this is the other thing. Her brother's friend, okay, her older brother's friend was the one that I'm like, I want her with him, because he, from the beginning, I mean, he called her ugly, which was like a little bit weird. That was like his nickname for her. Whatever. He's not perfect. Because it's kind of weird. It's like, why are you calling her ugly? But it was obvious that he cared about her, even back like 7 years prior in the first part of the show. It was obvious that he cared about her. Now, this man, you can tell he cares and you can tell he likes her. And it's like, hey girl, what about him? The person that likes you, genuinely likes you, and that you also had acknowledged even in the past he was like a very kind of important person in your life. It's like, hey girl, how about we don't go with this freaking mediocre man as heck? Like, that's the other thing, is like, I'm so disappointed because I really like the actor that plays Jay Peel. I do not like Jay Peel. I have not liked him from the beginning. He is annoying. He is so whiny and so like so mediocre. Two gorgeous, beautiful women who have great personalities should not be this invested in this boring man. Like Jeong-Hyeon, who is the brother's best friend, that's who I want Yeongrae to end up with. So charismatic, so funny, so silly. I love him. He has so much personality. And Jay Peel's over here just like, oh, I'm handsome and I have nice hair. No one cares, Jay Peel, because you're the worst. And the other part of all of this is I really want Jeong-Hye to either end up with Jay Peel, because I'm like, okay, whatever, that's kind of what it's supposed to happen. Whatever. If that's what happens, that's what happens. It's fine. But I also low-key really want her to just end up with Yeongrae's older brother, Yeong-Sik. That. I want that. I want that relationship. Basically, I just don't want anyone to end up with Jay Peel. I don't think he deserves to end up with any of the women. Any of the women. And I saw a comment that I really feel like is accurate. They were talking about like they were like, I don't want this person to end up with this person, but they were basically like, I want Yeongrae, Jay Peel, and Jeong-Hye to just stay friends. I want all three of them to just be friends. There'd be no romantic inclination between the three of them, and I think they should all be friends. Here's the thing. I don't see that happening. I fear that JPL will end up with one of the girls. It's more of just who. And I just pray that it's not Yeongrae, because I just don't understand why a show would take the chemistry and the interesting dynamic that she has with her older brother's friend. Like, that dynamic was so much more interesting than anything she had with JPL. And also, this is the thing that just I keep coming back to from the beginning, is there has never, ever been any romantic inclination between her and JPL. This man, and there was a stupid scene right at the end where he was talking to his friend, and his friend was like, oh, are you more than friends, like, with her, or do you want to be more than friends, or are you guys just friends, or whatever he had said, and he said no. So it's like that inclination that we have gotten scenes where he's obviously thinking about it, whether it's because he's actually interested in her, it's just everyone in their freaking lives keeps telling them that they should be together, whatever the reason is, he has definitely thought about it. But at the end of the day, again, yeah, even if you're jealous, yeah, even if you're uncomfortable when other men ask about her, it's not your place. You have that's the other thing. It's like, I'm so not here for him being jealous, because I'm like, so you couldn't bother to get your head out of your butt for the last 7 years and see her as a woman and see her as a great, wonderful, amazing person that she is, and now because some other person, a man, is asking about her, now you're like, oh wait, maybe I do like her. No, you just suck. And I hate characters that are like that. I hate characters that are written like they don't see the woman's everything wonderful about her until another man likes her. I have watched shows where that trope is okay, and it's only okay if that guy is like a viable option and like an actually good character. With him, low-key, not a fan. Don't like him, don't care. Also, there was like this part with like his dad. It's like a side plot because his dad sucks. I cannot tell you how little I care about that father in this show. He could die in the next episode and I would be happy. Oh, controversial opinion. He sucks so much. I couldn't care less. I'm also like, I do not want to watch 5 minutes of this man. He's so annoying. I hate the way he treats his wife. I hate the way the show glosses over the fact that he's low-key abusive to his second wife, and he was also abusive to his first wife. I hate how the show makes that almost like a weird, like the way he treats her is like almost humorous, and I'm like, this is not funny. He's trash, and this woman needs to leave him. That's a whole separate side plot to this show that I just really do not like. That I was like, why is no one talking about the way that he's like low-key kind of abusive towards this wife too? He's like so rude to her. It's not funny. I'm not laughing. Anyways. And then so then I forgot to say what actually ended up happening at the end of this episode. So basically what happened was nothing happened between the JPL and Yeongrae. She never got to confess, which I was like, yes. And Jeong-Hyeon, her older brother's best friend, is back into the story now. And then JPL got all mad because he was like talking to... Okay. Jeong-Hyeon likes Yeongrae, I'm fairly certain. It's like pretty confirmed at this point. And JPL was mad because Jeong-Hyeon was talking about her and was like, oh, blah, 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 blah. And he was like, I was like, you idiot. You don't even have... You have no place to be jealous right now. Like, I actually cannot tell you how little I care about how you're jealous. I could not care less about you. Actually, honestly, as a character, I really don't even like him. Like, if he wasn't in the show, I would be okay with that. Ooh, I said it. Anyways, what was I saying? Oh, so he was mad at Jeong-Hyeon for, like, talking about her and whatever, which, again, no right to do that. And then they were, like, all drinking, and then they both got super drunk. It was like really honestly kind of embarrassing for them and whatever. And then whatever that happens with that end. But then so Yeongrae is a hairdresser, so they're like, oh, this chairwoman and her daughter are coming. It's like a really big deal. They're like major VIP clients. Like we have to be really like, you know, at our best. Guess who the chairman's daughter is? Jeong-Hee. So she's now back into the story, and it makes so little sense because it's like, the last time we saw Jeong-Hee, she was running away so she didn't get arrested for attempted murder. Or, like, get arrested for assault or something. Because she was defending Yeongrae. It was a whole thing from their boss, their terrible boss at the bus station. It was a whole thing, whatever. And then she had to run away, and that was, like, a big thing at the end of it was the end of episode 6, which was then episode 7 was the time jump. And that's the episode that I just said. 7 I just finished. Okay. Anyways. So she pops back into the story, and now we don't know where that is. And there's been... You have to take previews at the end of the episode with a grain of salt because half the time they make them really deceiving. From the preview, it kind of looks like they reconnect in a certain context, but then there's like this acknowledgement of like, yes, we know each other, but we don't want to talk about our past, but maybe we'll just like Jeong-Hye seems to be like, I don't want to talk about my past with you, like I don't want to. So we'll see if they like how fast it takes them to become friends again, because in the very beginning there's like a montage of just like scenes and stuff, and we see all three of them together, so we know that at some point they all three like are friends again and are like together. So I'm not really sure when that happens exactly, but at some point it's going to happen. And there's not that many episodes left, so I'm like, I don't know how, but whatever. Whenever they decide to tie it all in. And then there's still the confusing Yeongrae, Jeong-Hye, JPL love triangle of it all. Here's the other thing, and this was something I realized too. In the first part of the story, in Act 1, if you will, the first 6 episodes, Yeongrae knew that Jeong-Hye and JPL, like, she knew that they might be interested in each other. And so she kind of backed off and kind of made this whole, she lied, which again, I still don't agree with. I don't know why her character did it. But she basically lied and told Jeong-Hye she never liked JPL, even though she did. And then, so then that was why Jeong-Hye and JPL ended up kind of like coming together and kind of dating-ish or whatever, being together, whatever. And Yeongrae, I already kind of said this, but she had this whole scene where she basically, like, we thought she confessed to JPL, again, all in the past. But then it was like she had actually just said it, like, in her head. She hadn't actually confessed to him, and she even says in, like, it's like, you know, her, whatever, the voiceover or whatever, being like, goodbye, my first love. So it was very much like, it seemed like she was kind of like, she gave up on JPL and she kind of moved on. But then obviously everything with Jeong-Hye happened. She left. They grew... Her Yeongrae and JPL grew closer, and then obviously they probably also bonded over the fact that the girl he liked and her best friend kind of, you know. But it also feels kind of messed up because it's like, girl, you knew that your best friend liked him. Not that that's her fault or that she has to be responsible for that, but it's also like, why would you want your best friend's leftovers? Like, I'm so sorry to say it, but it's so true. It's like, and I've seen so many people talk about it, but they're like, if I knew my best friend liked a guy, I would not like, if I knew my friend also liked him or something, like, I wouldn't still like him. But it's also kind of like, well, she liked him first and whatever. But anyways, through all of that, through everything that's happened in the past and to the future, again, like I had said, she still hasn't confessed. And I feel like there has to be a reason the show keeps showing her not confessing. Obviously, part of the reason they're doing it is for the plot, because they're trying to keep the plot, you know, intriguing and interesting. But I also think that there's a deeper reason. And I think the deeper reason is that because she's not going to end up with him. I just don't see how the show could make a relationship between them make sense, because a lot of people have said too is like, the last we saw of JPL, like in the past, was how much he liked Jeong-Hye. So they're like, they haven't shown us anything in that 7 years time jump that would make sense that he would suddenly start liking Yeongrae. It also doesn't really make sense in general because, again, we don't know a ton of their backstory. We haven't seen a lot of flashbacks to their 7 years of being like really close. So it's like, it does just kind of feel like out of nowhere that he would suddenly start liking her. And I don't think they could make it seem more like this if they tried. Make it seem kind of more like, well, we're both here. We're both here, we're both attractive, and I guess we like each other enough. I guess we could date. That is the vibe that they give off. It's the, I guess we can date. Because if Jeong-Hye wasn't in the story and it was just like two best friends, you know, friends to lovers, they would work and it would be fine. But because that's not the plot, because there's always been this like center person essentially, but this triangle, if you will, it doesn't really makes sense that he'd suddenly just develop feelings for Yeongrae. Because as I said in the beginning of this video, the second Yeongrae pops back into this, or the second Jeong-Hye pops back into the story, any remote feelings he had for Yeongrae that took him 7 years to realize would just disappear. Because, and the thing is, if Jeong-Hye comes back into the story between the three of them, Yeongrae, I don't think that she's going to suddenly spontaneously be like, no, I want him, you can't have him. Maybe, but I don't think so, because that's not her character, and I don't think she would change that much from how she acted at the beginning to like giving him up essentially for her friend, in her, even just if those in her own like mind essentially, in her own like little world. I don't think that her character would suddenly change that much and suddenly be like, no, I want him, you can't have him type of thing. No, if her bestie comes back into her life, I don't think she's going to care that much about JPL. She was able to maintain be friends with the two of them, even when they liked each other, and even when she still liked JPL. So I don't think she's just going to suddenly spontaneously be like, no, Jeong-Hye, I want him, you can't have it. Because we know that Jeong-Hye probably still has feelings for him as well. Or if she doesn't, she's going to see him again and it's all going to come flooding back. Whatever. So that's why it's like, I don't see Yeongrae trying to get in between them. I don't see, like, if they're gonna end up together, they're gonna end up together, and she's not gonna, like, try to, like, keep him, essentially, if you will. Like, she's gonna give up. Even if her giving up is literally all her in her own mind, and she doesn't tell anybody else, and no one else knows about it but her, she's not going to do anything about it, because that's not the way her character is written. And if she does something about it, it would change her entire character that they've built for the last 7 episodes, and it would be weird. I will say also, I like her character a lot more in the time jump, because she actually acts like a human being and an adult. They made her a little too childish in the past, and it was kind of weird. I was like, okay, why does she talk like that? Now she actually talks like a normal person. Because the actress Kim Demi, whatever her name is, she has kind of a unique, not squeaky, I don't know how to explain her voice, but she does kind of have a unique, like, higher toned, higher pitched voice to begin with, and they just made her kind of exaggerate that more in the first part of the show. So now that she's, like, talking in her normal tone, yeah, she's not like she has a deep voice, but she sounds more just like a normal human being adult rather than whatever the heck they had her doing in the past, which was kind of weird, and people pointed it out, and I kind of agree. It was a little weird. Her voice was just very high, and she acted kind of childish. A lot of people also were kind of complaining, because they were like, or just, maybe not complaining, but just commenting on the fact that they're like, she's very autistic coded, and I don't know if she was supposed to be. I don't think so. I don't think that's where the show was going with it. But a lot of people were also complaining, because they were like, oh my gosh, she's acting just like this character in this other K-drama, who in that K-drama, that character is supposed to be autistic. That's the entire part of the character. And then I've heard, this is such a side plot, I've heard a lot of different, like, complaints about, there's a show called Extraordinary Attorney Woo, and it's about this girl who, she becomes, like, a lawyer, but she's autistic. And a lot of people I've heard both complaints and also, like, people saying it was good. A lot of people, I think, said that her performance as an autistic character, they were like, okay, this is, like, kind of stereotypical autistic, because, like, she's not, like, since autism is a spectrum, and, like, everyone behaves differently who has autism, there's no, like, set way you act, and if you do have a set way you act, it can kind of come across as being stereotypical and exaggerated, and, like, okay, that's not how an autistic person actually acts. Like, it's weird to, like, use that as, like, this is an autistic person, this is how they all act. And I think that that's why Attorney Woo got a little bit of flack at times, because people were like, oh, this is a great interpretation. The other people were like, this is a weird interpretation. I did see someone talking about that, though, where they were talking about it, and I think they said that certain parts were good, like the way she, like, acted out certain parts, but then other parts were a little bit weird. Anyways, that's such a side tangent. But a lot of people were saying that Yeongrae kind of gave that vibe in the beginning of the show. She doesn't anymore, which makes it even more, like, I don't ever think that she was supposed to be autistic. I think that the show just wanted her to act really, like, innocent and, like, childish, which is kind of weird. It's kind of strange when you go back to it. Oh my gosh, I have so many words. Anyways, all of that to say, this last episode, I have so many feelings, and I just need Yeongrae to not end up with JP, and that's the thing. And I don't really care if Jeong-Hye ends up with him. I just don't want Yeongrae to end up with him. I just don't want that. I don't want that pairing. I need it to not happen. I just need it to not happen. Because I think she deserves so much better than him. And I don't think she deserves to be the second choice, the leftovers, if you will. I guess I'll just be with you because the one that I really want isn't here. Oh, no. I will never root for that kind of relationship. I hate it. I hate it here. Anyways, yeah, so I think that's all I have to say. We'll see what episode 8 brings. I don't know. I mean, the show is, like, more than halfway over, so I'm not really sure. Because we have episode 8 tomorrow, and then 9 and 10 next week, and then 11 and 12. So I've only got, like, four, well, I guess technically 5 episodes. Because I guess if you count 8, it's 5. But anyways, so the show's almost done, too. So that's why another reason why I'm like, I don't know where this show is going. And they better build these relationships up to make sense, because otherwise, like, we're kind of running out of time. Anyways, yeah, that's all I have to say. So we'll see if I make a video about episode 8. Probably not, but maybe. If it annoys me, I'll make an episode. So, and make an episode of my show. I'll make a video about it if it annoys me. So, okay, bye.